I don't want to speak too soon because it is still only early March, but I think we might just survive in the Championship this season. Hello and welcome to part 95 of Backing the Boro. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we're at home against Millwall and then away against Reading, both in the Championship. Since you were last with me, we've continued along our patchy form. You know how form has been for us this season, but this kind of patchy form is absolutely fine and will lead to safety. As long as we win roughly as many games as we lose, we'll beat that Kev ratio, and this is how we find ourselves in the league table at the moment, in 17th place after 34 games, 40 points from 34 games, so well ahead of the Kev ratio. Only 5 points clear of relegation with 12 games still to go, so we're absolutely not safe yet, but 4 more wins for sure, and we're absolutely there. 3 or even 2 and a few draws, and we probably are as well. We're looking at that 50-point mark, and we are closing in on it all the time. Certainly after that massive win we just had in our last game against Huddersfield, who are also down in this relegation zone. I can't even see it on here. There you go. Nuneaton 3, Huddersfield 1, and Huddersfield are down there battling with us. So that was a huge win. There's been a little bit of transfer business since we last spoke as well. Aidan Chambers-Shaw, who you'll remember we brought back to the club for a free transfer in the summer after he was with us a few years ago, went on a free to Middlesbrough, didn't ever play for them, spent a year on loan at the Oval, and then came back to us. Well, he didn't play a game at all for us. He was on quite a lot of money. Coventry offered 150,000 for him. He's still only 23 years old. There's still the potential he could end up being a half-decent player, but at £2,000 a week and not getting near our team, it seems silly to not just take the money. And it is the end of an era. One of our heroes of our rise up the leagues, Josh McDonald, has now left the club. We talked about him in the last episode, how we'd taken the vice-captaincy off of him. We'd put him on the loan list, but Oxford actually came in and offered us cash money funds for him. Only £76,000. It's not very much money at all, but he's another one who was on quite a lot of money with us. He'd only played 11 games this season, 5 starts, 2 goals. As you can see, it's been a long time now since Josh McDonald hit the giddy heights that he had for us back down in League 2. Very much a League 2 player looking at this. And, I mean, I don't know, League 1 with Oxford, he might score goals down there for him, but you know, what he really needs is to be back in League 2 where he can be a 25, 30 goal a season striker, because even for us in League 1, I know he never really got much of an opportunity, but he was never much of a League 1 striker for us either. So Josh McDonald has also moved on, and we have signed both of the strikers that we were looking at in the last episode. The one that I was... Stupid phone making stupid noises. The one that I was very excited about is Chris Ruggles, and you'll see from what he's done for us since he's arrived that I was absolutely right to be excited. Chris Ruggles is a 20-year-old striker, 3.5-star current ability, 5-star potential. He's the best striker at the club, better than Dan Fisher, and is currently on 7 goals from 7 games, 2 Man of the Match awards, and a 7.64. And the second best striker at the club is the fella who came in with him on loan from Chelsea. Both of these two are on loan for a season and a half, by the way, so they're with us until the end of next season. Matt Symes is 18. 3.5-star current ability, 5-star potential, and he's on 5 goals from 7 appearances. So we have a new strike partnership. Poor old Dan Fisher and Lee Weaver and Ricky German falling down the pecking order to let 2 young loanees in. And I know some of you sometimes get a little bit grumpy about loanees coming in, but remember, some of the best players we've had, including Weaver, including Fisher, were originally with us on loan, and then we sign them permanently at the end of that, and we just repeating a transfer policy that has worked for us over the years. And goodness me, if the goals that these 2 lads have scored been valuable, because they're the goals that have got us these wins. The win against Fulham was just these 2 goals each. The win against Huddersfield, both of them scored in that game. They have been massive for us. The win against Sheffield United, a hat-trick from Chris Ruggles. So the games that we've been winning are games where these 2 are scoring goals for us. Admittedly, we're losing games where we're not scoring at all, so they're still a little bit inconsistent because they're still young. But we'll work on that with time. Let's get into the Millwall game anyway. There's still no further news on our new stadium. We just know it's still supposedly going to be set up ready for the end of next season. I don't see it myself, as we don't even have a location, a name, potential capacity, anything like that yet. But this is the team for today's game. We've got Mitchell in goal. A back four of Anderson, Hughes, Sawyer and Ibrahim, with Longden, Johnson, Skelton in midfield and Ball in behind Ruggles and Symes. I want these two to be awesome today so you can see them at their awesome best. And I think of the two games that we're playing today, this home game against Millwall is the most likely one for us to get a result out of, because we are a good team at home. We're not so good away from home. And Millwall, similar to Huddersfield, are another team who are down in this relegation battle with us. If we pick up a win in this game, it goes an awful long way towards starting to build that nice gap between us and the relegation zone. Put another win on the board, get us ever closer to that 50-point mark. Of course, a defeat, and because Millwall are the team currently sat at the top of the relegation zone, they're down in 21st place. If they win, that closes that gap up massively. So we need a result today. We need big performances from our two shiny new young strikers. And of course, James Ball from midfield as well, doing a fancy back heel. But it's a big ball over the top to Symes. He can't quite get there. But the keeper does panic a little bit. It wasn't really a situation that warranted panic, but he panicked all the same. And our attack continues, and it's out with Anderson on the left-hand side. Cross comes in, not towards any of our players, really. Skelton picks it up, and it's back with Johnson. Now Skelton can have a go at crossing, but instead tucks it back to Longden. That was stunning, both from Skelton and Longden. They combined absolutely superbly there. Everybody in the world, me included, expected Skelton to cross here, but he's got the vision to notice Longden hovering around on the edge of the area, who just absolutely took his time and thumped that into the back of the net. Look what happened to the net! He hit that ball so hard, he burst the net, broke the game. It's 1-0 to Nuneaton, and we're dangerously close to the top half of the table right now, which is utterly ridiculous. If it ends as it is right now, we'd find ourselves in 13th place, 8 points clear of Millwall, who would still be the team closest to challenging us at the top of that relegation zone. So this could be such a big game, such an important result in the history of this football club if we can pull off a win here today. Right, it's with Anderson again on the left-hand side. Forward to Longden. Has he got another screamer in him today? Back to Longden again from Johnson, who plays it out to Anderson, who's ran forward and then very wasteful, but he's tracked back nicely and ready to close down his opponent. And Ibrahim's in there to cover from the ball forward from Millwall. Lumps it up towards Symes, who wins the header. Ball is onto it. Can ball square to Ruggles? He does. Ruggles is there, but it's straight at the Millwall keeper. We're playing well. 65% possession in this first half. I'm a little bit disappointed it's only 1-0 going into half-time, because I think the quality of our play probably warrants a little bit more than that. But looking at the clear-cut chances, we've only had one and we've scored it. So I guess we're playing just about on par with where we're supposed to be at the moment. And that possession, I guess, is more an indication of just how poor Millwall are as a team. And if we let them back into it, then there's no excuses for that, really. But Ruggles out to Skelton. Ruggles, Symes and Skelton all look like young Premier League prospects. They're combining brilliantly. They are just too good for a team like us. I know Ruggles and Symes are both sat there in a 6.4 today, but we're seeing moments of genius from them that you just don't get from our sort of typical lower league, non-league types. You wouldn't get Josh McDonald linking up with Skelton the way both of those two did in that move, but we are going to make some changes now, and it is going to be to the front two, and we're going to bring on Fisher and Weaver, because, and we'll swap them around to the way we've been playing them for most of the last 2 years. Because we've got to give these two the opportunity to force their way back into the team. And with Ruggles and Symes not doing particularly well on their ratings today, it seems like a good opportunity to do that. I don't want to just completely forget that Fisher and Weaver exist. They've been massive, massive parts of our charge at the league. Ibrahim can come off for Mole as well as our final substitution. And I am starting to get a little bit twitchy. There's only 5 minutes left. We're still only 1-0 up. We have played very well, but we've not been... The one thing we've not really done is created a lot of chances. Hopefully we can grab another goal here and calm me down a little bit. It's Dan Fisher, back to Johnson, forward to Longden, to Ball, out to Mole on this right-hand side, cuts it back inside to Johnson, and then Skelton, Weaver, through to Fisher. I mean, I said you're not going to get a nice free-flowing attacking move from our lower league strikers, but they were involved in that there, and it looked a bit special again. And Weaver's now through and should have scored. That was our second big, big chance of the game, and he's missed it. And I hope we don't end up paying for it. We've got like 30 seconds left, 2 seconds left. Blow that whistle, referee. He does. It's only a 1-0. It wasn't anything special, but goodness me, was that important and taking us into this Reading game against another relegation competitor. It just gives us that little bit of a cushion, and there's always the outside chance we could pick up an away result against Reading and be all but safe by the end of this episode, because I think 46 points with 10 games to go, you'd have to mess that up spectacularly to end up going down. So this Reading game, although we're not expecting a win, it would be nice. 2 changes for the Reading game then. Richardson and Lang coming in for Ibrahim and Ball, just really in the interest of a little bit of rotation. They're both down, dropped down as far as 95-96% conditioning. I know most of the team has, but they're 2 positions where there's not really a lot between the players in those positions. You could probably toss a coin between Richardson and Ball or Ibrahim and Lang. So if there's an opportunity just to swap them out, just to give the other one a little bit of time to recuperate, then we'll do it. What we really need is another decent centre-back who we're able to do that with, because both Sawyer and Hughes have played a lot of games this season. They've picked up a lot of little niggling injuries, and it would be nice to have a third decent centre-back to rotate with them, but we just don't really have one. Symes with a good chance early on. It is straight at their keeper, and that's our first clear-cut chance wasted by the youngster, but I think we've just won a penalty? No? We gave away a free kick. Pretty much the same thing. Ruggles now gets a second opportunity, plays it back to Longdon, through to Symes. Symes forces a save out of the Reading keeper. He's had 2 clear-cut chances in the first 5 minutes. That one he did a lot better with, but still, it's been 2 good chances and he's not scored either of them. I hope all my bigging up the new youngsters before the episode hasn't caused them to just be rubbish today. That was a bit weird. I don't really know what happened there. Richardson kind of just toe poked it forward towards a crowd of players, wasn't even really aiming at a red shirt, and it's led to this counter-attack, which we have managed to clear, albeit temporarily, and Reading are in again, and this time they've hit the post. Right, this has been proper end-to-end early on. There's been big chances for both teams, and luckily, I say luckily, we've had the 2 clear-cut chances, but at least we're not losing, because earlier on in the season, I think if the game starts like this and they've hit the post twice in the first 9 minutes, now I do feel a little bit lucky that it's still only 0-0. We've missed 2 big chances, but they've hit the post twice. And this is looking like a relegation 6-pointer where both teams have just decided to go for it. And neither of us are very good, which I guess is exactly the situation that we're in. We both want to win. We've come here on a control mentality. We're not coming here to defend like teams sometimes come to us and do. But neither of us are exactly free scoring in the attack. I know we've got 2 young up-and-coming strikers, but we've already seen from looking at the schedule before that they're very inconsistent. Although they are both scoring a decent number of goals, but they score them in bursts. They'll have a game where they'll get 2 or 3, and then they won't score for 2 or 3 games. So it looks like they're scoring a goal a game. But it reminds me of the Ashley Chambers days. I know we're going back a long way now, back sort of 8, 9, 10 seasons of this save. But Ashley Chambers used to be exactly the same. You'd get to the end of the season and think, he's had a cracking season. He's got 30 goals for us. But then you actually look at it and think, well, he went 12 games there without scoring. We were really struggling for form for a quarter of the season because we didn't have a striker. And these 2, I know it's early days, I know they're very young, but they do seem to be following the Ashley Chambers mould, whereas Fisher, German, Weaver, they just score a little bit more consistently. You don't generally get hat-tricks out of them or complete dominating performances, but they'll weigh in with a goal every game or 2. Because that's just what they've always done. Right, 20 minutes to go. A draw is by no means a disaster in this game, but we... what's up with Albert Richardson? Oh, that's match fitness that's down there. That's fine. In fact, he's not having a very good game anyway, so let's take him off. Bring James Ball on. We're going to bring on Dan Fisher for Symes as well. And then we're going to swap those 2 over. Get Ruggles playing as the advance forward because he is lightning quick. I think the issue I've got with Ruggles and Symes, which I didn't ever intend to sign them both. Ruggles is in here, and that's a big miss. That's another clear-cut chance. I kind of just intended to sign one of them, but then after I'd signed Ruggles, before I confirmed Symes, the cash offer for McDonald came in, and I thought, well, actually, I may as well sell McDonald and bring both of these young lads in, but then didn't expect both of them to be good, like the best strikers at the club good. So I don't know. I don't know if we'll be playing them together long term, or if we need a Fisher or a Weaver alongside one of them to be a target man. We've been down this road before where we've had a couple of target men and a couple of advanced forwards, and we need to work on the combinations between the two. And I don't know if Ruggles and Symes together is a combination we want to do. One of those two with one of Fisher and Weaver, probably with Ricky German missing out because he's a similar sort of player to Ruggles and Symes, whereas Weaver and Fisher are both more target men type players, although they can both play as advanced forward as well, like they're doing now. We'll sort of rotate which one of them gets to be the advanced forward. But this has been a total nothing game. Have we got a last minute winner in us just to kick Reading in the teeth? We've got 9 seconds to score it, but we have got the ball. It's with Weaver. He plays it inside towards Skelton to Longdon, and the game is over, 0-0. Have we ever had an episode with so few goals in before in this series? That seems mad. But the important thing to take out of it is that we're now, after 36 games, on 44 points. We're 6 points clear of the relegation zone. We're sat nicely in mid-table. We're well ahead of the Kev ratio. I think we're looking pretty comfortable. And in actual fact, unless something goes massively awry, I would imagine tomorrow's episode is going to be the last 2 games of the season. Unless it starts to look like we might be in danger. I think we're just drifting towards mid-table anonymity this year, and I'm happy to continue the drift. So unless something exciting happens, like a really unlikely playoff push or a much more likely relegation battle, we'll just go all the way straight through to Burton and Hull. But obviously if it looks like it's going to be an interesting battle in one way or the other along the way, we'll drop in an extra episode as well. But if you have enjoyed this, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos, and thank you very much for watching.